after a season when Will's roommate bathed with our main character, Mega nameless Will remembers what the entire story is called. It's called Wand and Sword. Along with Sion's Ignis Rooks, he now has unlocked a new skill, Mage Blade Whis. Using Ignis Whis, he destroyed the Grand Duke. But it ain't over yet while the evil Sentinels pull a fast one. While Edward Sensei and Werkner Sensei continue being useless, the strongest of the Magia vendors show up just in time. Old guy. Some small fry comes out to introduce himself as the Finn. Not from Danmachi, but Finn from the Finn tribe. The people of the light. There's a ton of mystery there, and the bad guys were able to retrieve what they were actually looking for. That is a sword that yeets mages. Back at the regarded magical academy, it's time for testing to see if the shonen, who everyone calls a worthless no talent, actually gets to advance to the tower to see his sleepy baddie. Elfair, Albis Serfort. For these videos, I will be covering the differences between the anime and manga, and I will talk about some light spoilers, so I guess this is your spoiler warning. Wistoria, Wand and Sword, Season 2 Episode 1, Barrier Day, adapts Chapter 20, Final Exams, and Chapter 21, the Terminalia. It looks like Will might actually do the thing and make it to the tower, but not on Edward Sensei's watch. Roasty plucks Will's gray hair, making the side chick jealous. Before Roasty starts explaining the Finn tribe in the manga, it actually shifts to a new scene between Julius and Sion in Headmistress Calderon. There is some anime only filler to reintroduce all of us to our most crucial characters. Their dialogue basically is a reminder of fire and ice, and of course, there's a baddie underneath all those wrinkles. Lihanna and Wignall also get their own reintroduction because much character development happened after Will came along. Both were filled with much pressure and angst, but Will was there to help relieve some of their concerns with his courage of being a no talent. This is where in chapter 20 the conversation about the Mage Slayer sword between Finn and Calderon was actually put in the season finale of season 1 episode 12. So everything about the Finn tribe was described by Lihanna in the anime in the season 1 finale, but in the manga it was Roasty who explained it here in this scene, to the part where Colette catches Will slacking in the library, dead asleep, and so it's time to pounce. There are his lips. Assault, battery, intrusive thoughts start to take over. Who cares about double standards until Roasty catches the Earth Princess lacking? I could have sworn you were about to assault him. Even Roasty asked for consent before doing something skin to skin. Colette is the one putting in all the girlfriend work, while that sleepy ice bitch gets all of Will's rewards. Life isn't fair, as Will knows. Back at the top of the tower, nature's children, ice, wind, and lightning, have words to flex whose attribute is better. All three are getting ready for the Terminalia ritual to make sure the fake sky barrier remains safely above them. And now, the last test begins. And who is the proctor? Edward Sensei always be on some bullshit to ask, what is magic? When he knows Will is a sword and not a wand. Look at Sion, even worried about his rival, who he just wanted to be friends with, but is just salty about his rejection. Everyone pours their heart out of what they think about magic and their experience, and Will freaks out, thinking about how he can never get to the ice booty, but musters up the courage to deliver a thoughtful answer that magic is about getting to the booty. But you know, Werkner Sensei is all of us. Why you always be on some bullshit, Edward Sensei? An argument is set off, and Edward brushes off Will's protector that they can't allow a bum that can't even use magic into the tower, where everything revolves around magic. Edward Sensei has taken it upon himself to show the headmistress and Werkner Sensei that he's the ultimate gatekeeper. No sword can be a wand. Will Serfort, you shall not advance to the tower. And I guess if you want to be technical about it, I guess the anime did just omit this little panel that was a zoomed out angle of Will crying and completely devastated. Will's friend with benefits pulls up on him to tell him about fixing his goggles, but Will is absolutely hurt and needs to vent because reaching Elfie is no longer possible. Roasty gets way too close for a straight guy's comfort, but Daijobu! Cry on my chest. Colette, Sion, and Lihanna are looking for Will, but he is nowhere to be found. And here comes Julius, pulling an Edward Sensei that no sword belongs with the wand. Wignall is getting ready to snap on your boy, but Julius ain't no bitch and slaps away his wand and calls out the next sucker that wants to throw hands in Sion. Aren't you the guy that also hates the no talent? He does, but it would feel better if he made it to the tower where he can beat his ass there. Workner Sensei comes out to see all the commotion and assures all of them that he will find Will, and so everyone should just go to the Terminalia, where the Great Barrier will be reinforced to protect their fate sky from the celestial hosts. Back at the Albis Garden is where the ritual takes place as the New Year's Eve bash for the Great Barrier ritual begins. The 26-year-old single and ready to mingle, Clary Sarah, will be the announcer of the event and even craps on her work pals and childhood friends and Workner and Edward Sensei. Very subtly, the anime added a scene where Rose comes to grab Colette before the action goes down. A quick rundown of the story's lore is repeated as long ago that people were trapped in darkness with no knowledge of the sky, and many lands were laid waste by the celestial hosts. It wasn't until their founder, Mercedes, called upon 5 great mages to seal up the sky and repel the invaders. Ever since that day, 500 years ago, the Magia Vendor has maintained the Great Barrier that has protected them from the outside world. Many more anime-only scenes were added to show more of our main characters. As the watcher, Iris looks on to show how important it is to maintain the Great Barrier before a catastrophe from the legend ensues. Raj Holland of the Fire faction and many others are making sure the entire festival is safe and secure, as the anime makes this scene with Iris quite a bit more dramatic, looking back to report to Sir Logwell. So then Sir Logwell tells Lord Cariot that it is time to begin the barrier festivities. It's time for all 5 Magia vendors to commit to their duties. The ritual begins as a major event takes place, with some that are disappointed. But lift your head up as the celestial host looks to one day conquer their world. Everyone must do their part and do their best to make sure evil is not allowed into this world. All the mages lift up their wand in support of the Great Barrier. The anime spices up a bit to add all the Magia vendors' powers: Cariot's Flame Crown, Elfie's Water Orb, Reinbold's Lightning Throne, Eleanor's Scepter, and lastly, Old King's Earth Altar. With all 5 working in unison, they summon the Grand Spell Circle, Vandus Terminalia. The countdown begins and a new year begins, except it is a new year indeed. Magic Circle appears like some kind of prank, and the mood suddenly shifts from bittersweet to it's time to play hero. Monsters are summoned out of nowhere and start to lay waste onto their town. Given that the Magia vendors used up most of their magic to activate the Great Barrier, it is now time for the party from hell to make their move. It's a bittersweet ending to an episode where Will Serfort is absolutely devastated, but one where tragedy strikes at the same time, and we know Will is someone that will need to fight against monsters that may possess the Mage Slayer. Everyone that has read the manga knew that this episode was going to be a banger. The anime adaptation has always been super close to the manga. If you guys have only watched the anime, I would recommend reading the manga as well, as some of the artwork is amazing and is a reason why I want to implement a lot more of the manga in these anime episodes. And there are certain moments that get left out, like in chapter 8 where there's a little side story at the end. I think a lot of people will actually enjoy something like that. if you ended up reading it. But other than that, let me know if you guys want to see more Wistoria videos on this channel. So comment down below and please get the views up, and if not, I may or may not see you guys on another video.